Hello viewers and welcome to the lesson. We continue with preparation for KCSE exams. This is Mathematics Paper 1, Section 2. There's very good questions that you're going to use to prepare for the exams. You're supposed to answer only 5 questions from these sections in the spaces provided, but for the purposes of revision, I'll ensure I'll take you through all the 8 questions. Remember to go to the description of the video. That is where you're able to get the link to download the question paper. So let's go straight to question 17. Moses and Mike contributed a total of capital, that is 800,000 shillings, to start a joint business. Moses contributed 31.25% of the capital. A profit of 72,000 shillings was realized by the end of the year. Part of this profit was paid as allowances as follows. Moses received basic management allowance of 7,000 shillings plus 7.5% of the profit and partnership allowance equivalent to 3.2% of his capital. Mike received a partnership allowance equivalent to 2.4% of his capital. Part A, calculate the total allowances paid to Moses. So you're supposed to calculate the total allowances paid to Moses. Now let's go to the question again. All the statements, make sure you read them again and understand. So Moses received basic management allowance of 7,000. That is the first one. Then plus 7.5% of the profit and partnership allowance equivalent to 3.2% of his capital. So what was the capital? We go to the capital Moses got. So we can start with that. So for the capital, this one was Moses contributed 31.25% of the capital. So that one is equivalent to 31.25. 31.25% is the same as 31.25%. So out of 100 times the total that is 800,000. 800,000. So this will give, when you work out these, this will give 250,000. 250,000. So this is the amount Moses contributed. Now the reason why I was working out that one, because of this. So there is a partnership allowance. Partnership allowance is equivalent to 3.2% of the capital. So let us get the partnership allowance. This is equivalent to 3.2% of the total capital, which is 250. So we get that. So that is one. We don't need to work it out because you're going to add. We get all the allowances first. And then there is another allowance which was given, which is 7,000. It is here, 7,000. So this one was basic management. The basic management. So basic management. This one is 7,000. And then plus 7.5%. 7.5% of the profit. So 7.5, that is 7.5%. of the profit. The profit was 72,000. Don't forget that. So 72,000. So I think now we have everything. Those are the allowances that were given to Moses. So now let us calculate all the allowances. So total allowances will be given by. So we start with the partnership allowance, which is 3.2%. of the capital. That is the first one. And then we add, we have 7,000. 7,000 is here. And then we have, the other one is 7.5% of the profit. So 7.5% of the profit, which is 72,000. Like that. So this one, you simply use a calculator to work out these, and this is what you're going to get. So this one will give you 20,400. So this will give 20,400. That is the total allowances paid to Moses. We go to the next part. Part B, determine the fraction of the profit that was paid as allowances. The fraction of the profit that was paid as allowances. Now for this one, we are going to, first of all, we have the allowances paid to Moses. Now what we need to do is to get the allowances that were paid to Mike. So the allowances paid to Mike, because you already have the allowances paid to Moses is 20,400. So what about Mike? So for Mike, let's go to the statement there. Up there, and go up there and read again. So where is Mike? Mike received a partnership allowance equivalent to 2.4% of his capital. 2.5% of his capital. So what was the capital? What was the capital that Mike contributed? So if Moses contributed 31.25%, and that one we've realized it was 250, and the total capital was 800,000. We simply need to subtract, get what Moses contributed. So 800,000 minus 250,000. As simple as that. So the capital, we'll get this one by 800,000, that was the total, minus 250,000, that for Moses. This will give us the capital that Mike contributed, and this will be 550,000. So Mike got a share. Mike received a partnership allowance equivalent to 2.4% of his capital. So 2.4% of his capital, which is, we've got the capital to be 550,000. So this will give 13,200. 13,200. That is what he got now. From them, let's see whether there is any other allowance that he got. Any other allowance that he got. So Moses received that. Okay, let me see. So I think now we can get the Moses allowance is 20,400. Mike, I'm trying to see whether there is any other allowance that Mike received. Mike did not receive any other allowance apart from only 2.4% of his capital. So that means that we can get the total allowances now, because the question is determine the fraction of the profit that was paid as allowances. So total allowances paid. So total allowances. Total allowances. So we get Moses. Moses got 20,400. And then Mike got 13,200. 13,200. So now when you add these, we'll get 33,600. That is the total. Now the question is, determine the fraction of the profit that was paid as allowances. So now to get the fraction of the allowances, the total allowances is 33,600. Then over the total, divided by the total that was shared, was 72,000. So when you go to the question here, you notice that the profit was 72,000. That is what was being shared. Profit was 72,000. And since we are required to get the fraction of the profit was 72,000. So it will be the allowances, total allowances, 33,600 divided by the total profit that was to be shared. So work out these. These will give, when you simplify these will give 336 divided by 720. And when you leave this one as the simplest fraction, this will give 7 divided by 15. So that is a fraction. Now we go to the other part. The remaining part of the profit was shared between Moses and Mike in the ratio of their capital they had each contributed. Express the total amount Moses received as a percentage of the profit. So what is the remaining profit? Remember the total profit was so let me get remaining profit. So total profit was 72,000, and what the two obtained from the previous question was 33,600. So what remained was the difference, which is 38,000. This is 30,400. That is what remained. Now let's get because this one was shared in the ratio of their capital. So we have what they contributed, the ratio of their capital contribution. So Moses ratio Mike, we can get that ratio of the capital they contributed. Moses contributed 250,000 of the capital. Then Mike 550,000. So if we get this ratio, we simplify this ratio, you get the ratio is 5 to 11. That is the ratio of the contribution of the capital. So now they shared the remaining in this ratio. So the question is express the amount Moses received. So we can get what Moses received. So Moses received, the share for Moses is 5 divided by the total, 5 plus 16, the total of the ratio, times this amount, 38,400. And this will give 12,000. So that is the share. And then you should not forget, you're supposed to express the total amount Moses received. So the total amount is not only this. This was the remaining. This is what remained. But initially, remember, Moses had obtained allowances. So you have to add these allowances amounting to 20,400. Allowances amounting to 20,400. So we have to add these to get the total Moses received, and this will give 32,400. Once you get that, now you can get this one. You can express this amount as a percentage of the profit. So this one expressed as a percentage of profit will be 32,400 divided by the total profit, which was 72,000, multiplied by 100. And when you work out this one very well using a calculator, this will give 45%. And that is how you're supposed to solve that part of the question. Question 18. Part A, find the possible values of P if the matrix A is singular. So if matrix A is singular, you're supposed to find the value of P. Now, what is a singular matrix? A singular matrix is a matrix whose determinant is equivalent to 0. So we simply require to get the determinant of this matrix A and then equate it to 0. So we get the determinant. So how you know how to get the determinant? You get the product of this diagonal, the product of that diagonal, which is P multiplied by P plus 5. And then you subtract the product of this other diagonal. This is 2 multiplied by -3. So this one should give 0 because it is a singular matrix. So this will give P squared plus 5P. This is a negative and another negative there. So that will give +6 is equals to 0. This is a quadratic equation. You can use any suitable method to solve this. So I'll use factorization, whereby I'll find two numbers whose product is 6 and the sum is 5. Those numbers are 2 and 3. So now I use factorization, P squared plus 2P plus 3P 2p plus 3p, I'm using these products, is 5p, plus 6 is equivalent to 0. So factorize these, you get p plus 2 plus 3, then you have p plus 2 is equals to 0. Once you reach that stage, you factorize, you get p, till you get this is a p plus 3, to brackets, p plus 2 is equals to 0. That means that p plus 3 is equals to 0. And if that is the case, p is equals to negative 3. That is the first solution. Then p plus 2 is equals to 0. Then p will be negative 2. So those are the two possible values of p, negative 3 and negative 2. We go to the other part, part B. A trader placed on display 8 shirts and 5 pairs of trousers valued at 49,600. If she reduced the number of shirts by 2 but increased the number of pairs of trousers on display by 2, the value of items increases to 52,800. Part 1. Taking X and Y to be the prices of a shirt and a pair of trousers respectively, form a matrix equation to represent this information. So we start from the first statement here, 8 shirts. The price of each shirt is X. So the cost of 8 shirts will be 8X. Then 5 pairs of trousers. 1 pair of trousers costs Y shillings. So 5 pairs will cost 5Y. And that one gives total cost of 49,600. 49,600. Now, if she reduced the number of shirts by 2, so initially they were 8, so reduce it by 2, you get 6. Then increase the number of pairs of trousers by 2. Pair of trousers were 5, so increase them by 2, you get 7. So the value of these items increases to 253, not by 252,800. 52,800. Now, after following those simultaneous equations, now we can write the matrix and form the matrix equation. And you know how we form these? We get the coefficients of X and Y. So 8, 6, 8, 6, and then 5, 7, 5, 7. Multiply this one by the price of a shirt and a trouser. This one should give 49,600 and 52,800, like that. So that is the required matrix equation. Now, using the equation in one above, determine the price of each item. So you're supposed to solve that equation by use of the matrix method. How do you do that? You begin by getting the inverse of this matrix, 8, 5, 6, 7. And to get the inverse, first you get the determinant of that matrix. The determinant of that matrix will be 8 times 7. Then subtract 5 times 6. So this one will give the determinant to be 56 minus 30. That will give 26. After getting the determinant, you get the inverse by 1 divided by the determinant. And then these values, the way you interchange them, you interchange these values like these. So we'll get these will be 7, negative 5, negative 6, and 8, like that. You can see how these elements are behaving. You have in this diagonal 5, 6, and you have negative 5, negative 6. So the signs change. The other 8, 7, 7, 8, the elements are interchanged. So you can multiply each of these elements inside here by 1 over 26, so that you can get 7 divided by 26. This one you get negative 5 over 26. So you're multiplying each element in the bracket by 1 over 26. Negative 6 over 26. And then you have 8 divided by 26, like that. So that is the inverse. Now, to solve the equation, you pre-multiply each side of this equation by that inverse. So you have 7 over 26 minus 5 over 26 minus 6 over 26, 8 over 26, like that. And then 8, 6, 5, 7. Then you multiply that by XY, like that. The other side should be multiplied by the same 7/26. So 7/26, -5/26, -6/26, 8/26, like that. And then multiply by 49,600, and then 52,800, like that. So this part that is here, when you multiply it, you're going to get an identity matrix, 1, 0, 0, 1. That will give identity matrix, unless you are wrong in getting the inverse. That is what you're supposed to get. Then multiply by XY, Now where we need to be very keen, this is where you get the answer. Multiply this 2 by 2 matrix by 2 by 1. This is how you do it. Row 1 times this column, you get 7/26 times 49,600, then plus -5/26 times 52,800, like that. We go to the second row, times that column, you have -6/26 times 49,600 plus 8 divided by 26 multiplied by 52,800. So that is how you're supposed to multiply that. Now, when you multiply the left-hand side, the identity matrix multiplied by XY, you get XY. And then when you multiply this using a calculator, 7/26 times 49,600 plus -5/26 times 52,800, that should give 3,200. Then the second row, -6 divided by 26 times 49,600 plus 8/26 times 52,800, that should give 4,800. So that means now the price of a shirt is 3,200. Then pair of trouser, that is a buying price, 4,800. So that is how you're supposed to solve that. We go to the next part, the last one. If the trader sold each shirt at 20% profit and each pair of trousers at 25% profit, calculate the percentage profit she made from selling a shirt and a pair of trousers. So that means you need to get the percentage profit for selling both shirt and a pair of trousers. Now to do that, we need to get the profit made for the shirt. So if the profit was 20%, we're going to get 20% of the price of a shirt. We got it to be 3,200. And this will give 640 profit for each shirt. Then for the trouser, the profit will be 25%. So 25% multiplied by the price of a trouser. We got it just above there. It was 4,800. 48, not 48, yeah, 4,800. It was 4,800. And this gives, when you multiply this, you'll get the profit to be 1,200. So now the total profit for shirt and a trouser will be 640 plus 1,200, and this will give 1,840. That is the total profit. Now after getting that, now the next thing is getting the percentage profit. So how do you get percentage profit? It is profit divided by the buying price multiplied by 100. So we need to get the buying price for both the shirt and the trouser. The shirt buying price is above there, that's 200, and then for the trouser, 4,800. So this gives 8,000 as the buying price. So now we get the total profit for both, which is 1,840 divided by, now you're getting the percentage profit divided by 8,000 multiplied by 100. That will give the percentage profit for both. And this will give, when you work it out, you'll get 23% profit. Question 19. A pentagonal pyramid with a base A, B, C, D, E of sides 20 centimeters and vertex V has a vertical height of 80 centimeters. So the diagram is there. Calculate correct to 2 decimal places. A, the area of the base. The area of the base. The base is pentagonal in shape. And so to get the area of a pentagon, we need to have the triangle. We divide this one into triangles. So if you divide the base into triangles, you come up with 6, actually 5. We have 5 triangles. So divide these, and all these triangles are equal. They are 5. So that means the area of that pentagon will be obtained by adding the areas of the 5 triangles that make up the pentagon. They're all equal. All these are radius. So we need also to have the angle at the center here. So to have one angle, because all these angles here at the center, they are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to get the size of one angle, you simply take 360, you divide by 5. Because there are 5 angles and all of them are equal, these will give 72 degrees. So that means the size of one angle here is 72 degrees. All these. So now if you create a right angle triangle from these so that you can get the area of that triangle, this will be 90 degrees. So this angle here will be 36, and also this one will be 36. And then because the sides are 20, so this side will be 10 and this one will be 10. That perpendicular will divide that into 2, that line ED into 2. So all these sides are 20, like that. So now you can see, for me to get the area of this triangle EOD, I need to get EO. I need to get the radius. When I get the radius, I can use a formula, have AB sin theta. So how do I get that? I can use trig ratios. I can get the sine of this angle, sine of 36. So sine of 36 degrees is equals to opposite side, which is 10, divided by, we call this H, hypotenuse. So how do I get H? H will be given by 10 divided by sine 36. And this will give the height as 17.01 centimeter. So all these heights, 17.01, 17.01, 17.01, 17.01. Now having that, now it is possible to get the area of the base, because I'll simply get the area of one. If I get the area of one triangle, that will be enough. So area of one triangle will be given by a half times AB sin theta. Why do I use this formula? Because I have the two sides. I have obtained the two sides, 17.01, 17.01, and then I have the angle between, which is 72. So this will be a half times 17.01 squared, that is 17.01 times 17.01 times the sine of 72 degrees. Now that will give the area of that one triangle. And then because I want the whole base, I'll multiply by 5, because there are 5 such similar triangles. That will give the area of now the total pentagonal shape. So when you compute this one using a calculator, you get this as 687.95 centimeters squared. That is the area of the base. Now we proceed to the other one, finding the length VC, that is part B, the length VC. The length VC. So you can see where VC is. So if you can draw this one, you can just sketch. You sketch it is something that you notice here, going to help us. So this is V, and then you have the height VO. This is the height, this is 90 degrees, and then this one is C. So I can use that, whereby we are given the height is 80 centimeters, and then we have OC. We got this radius as 17.01. This is 17.01. So we simply use Pythagoras theorem to get VC. So 80 squared plus 17.01 squared, you get the square root of that. So VC, you simply get, use Pythagoras theorem. 80 squared plus 17.01 squared. And this will give the square root of 6689.34, which will give 87. So this will give 87. Let me just from something here. So the square root of 6689.34, that will give 81.79. 81.79. So you get 81.79 centimeters. The next question, see part 1, the surface area of the solid. The surface area of the solid. So to get the surface area of this solid, we start by getting the surface area of the base, of which we already have. So we have the base, and then we have similar slanting triangles. There are 5. So we need to get the length of each. So if I can just draw one of them here, so that you can know which side we have and the one that we need to calculate. So for the slant height, we have already obtained the one of the slant height is 81.79. That means all the slant heights, 81.79. VC, by getting VC, remember by getting VC is the slant height, that is equal to all the others. It is equal to VB, VD, VA, and VE. So the slant heights are equal. So now we need to get the base, which is already there. It is 20. The base is 20. The sides of the pentagon. So this side is 20. So this side is 20. So having all the 3 sides, we can use the hero's formula. So we start by getting S, as it is the average of the perimeter. The average of the perimeter. And this will give 91.79. So now we can get the area using the hero's formula. S minus A, S minus B, S minus C. So S is 91.79. Then A, can start with any side. A, let's say A is S as first 91.79 minus A. Can take A to be 81.79, and then S 91.79 minus B is the other similar side, 1.79, and then 91.79 minus the last one, which is 20. So let this one to be side A, this one to be side B, and then this one to be side C. And then don't forget, you're getting the square root of everything. So this will give 91.79 times, when you subtract these, you get 10 times 10 times 71.79. We have the square root of that. And this one, when you multiply everything and get the square root, you get 811.76 centimeters squared. That is what you get. Now that is the area of just one. That is the area of just one. Don't forget that. The area of just one a slanting triangle. But there are 5. So all of them, there are 5 slanting triangles. So you have to take 8, 11.76, and then you multiply by 5. And this will give 58.8. Now the total surface area will be the area of the base. The area of the base, we got it initially. It was 687.95. And then we add 58.80, the slanting heights, the slanting triangles. And when you add that, you will get 46.75 centimeters squared as the total surface area. That is the base plus the 5 slanting triangles. Now the last question is the volume of the solid. So how do you get the volume of this pyramid? So to get the volume of the pyramid, we get it by a third times the base area times the height. So a third volume is equals to a third base area times the height. So a third base area, the base area is the area of the pentagon. That is the base. We got it as 687.95 times the height is given as 80. Very easy. And this one will give. So when you work out these, you will get 687.95 times 80. Then you divide by 3. So this will give 18,000. You get 18,345 and a third centimeters cubed. Or simply you can leave it in decimal form. Because you are supposed to leave this one in decimal form, you can leave it as 18,345.33 centimeters cubed. So that is how you're supposed to solve that question. Question 21, part A. Complete the table below for the function y is equals to negative x squared plus 2x plus 8. You have the function there and you have the table of values from x negative 3 to x is equals to 5. So just demonstrate using the first value of x. So using this function, so y is equals to negative x squared. So you're going to substitute x with, the first one is negative 3. So negative, then x squared. X is negative 3. And that is what you're supposed to square. Then plus 2, x is negative 3. Then plus 8. Where you need to be very keen is at the beginning here, negative x squared. You're not supposed to square that negative. So negative, then x is negative 3. Negative 3 is only the one that is supposed to be squared. So when you do that using a calculator, you'll get this one as negative 7. This will give negative 7. So the first one. So that is what you're supposed to do for all the others. Simply substituting x in that function. So for negative 2, you will get 0. So for negative 1, you will get 5. So for 0, you'll get 8. Then for 1, you'll get 9. For 2, you'll get 8. For 3, you'll get 5. For 4, you get 0, and this one will give negative 7. So that is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be very careful when you're filling the table of values, because that is where you're going to refer to when you're drawing the graph. You get 2 marks for that. Now we go to part B. On the grid provided, draw that graph in that range given, using the scale of 1 centimeter to represent 1 centimeter on the x-axis. So the x-axis is there. Then the y-axis is there. So 1 centimeter represents one unit. That will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Then you have -1, -2, -3, -4. That. Then for the y-axis, 1 centimeter to represent 2 units. So these will be 2, 4, 6, 8. This is -2, -4, -6, -8. After doing that, we can plot. When x is -3, y is -7. So -3, -7. -7 will be between -6 and 8. So it will be here. So that is why you have it. And then you have -2, 0. -2, 0 will be there. We use a different pen for that. Then -1, 5. So -1, -1, 5. 5 will be between 4 and 6. So it will be there. And then you have 0, 8. 0, 8. So 8 is there. 1, 9. 1, 9. 1, 9. So 9 will be. So here we have 10. So 9 is between 8 and 10. 1, 9 will be there. And then you have 2, 8. 2, 8 will be there. And then 3, 5. 3, 5. 5 is between there. Between 6 and 4 and 6. And then 4, 0. 4, 0. And then lastly we have 5, -7. 5, -7 is there. So those are the points. You've plotted the points. So now what you need to do is simply draw a smooth curve. You need to draw a smooth curve for that. Draw a smooth curve joining all these points. So from this point, need to join this one using a smooth curve like that. Sorry. Supposed to join it like that. I'm supposed to ensure that it is very smooth. Fortunately, for when you're using these tools, sometimes you're not able to draw the graph smoothly. So you kindly understand the use of these digital tools. You may not have a very accurate one as opposed to when you have the physical graph paper. So that is the graph of the function y is equals to -x² plus 2x plus 8. Once you draw it like that, we can go to the questions and answer. So let's see, use the graph in B2. 1, find the range of values of x for which -x² plus 2x plus 8 is less than 0. So when you look at this function and try to compare with what you have there, you notice that this is y. So negative x squared plus 2x plus 8, that one is equivalent to y. So in simple terms, if you can subtract these equations, you remain with y is equals to 0, or simply because you have inequality there, y is less than 0, because y is the one that is equivalent to what we have on the left hand side. So you're supposed to find the range of values of x for which y is less than 0. Y is less than 0. Actually, when you look at the graph here, where do we have the value of y being less than 0? We have these 2 points here. So we have this point here when x is -3. You can see that. And actually, even from the graph, even if you look at the graph, you notice there where the values of y are less than 0. We have when x is -3 and when x is 5. And from the graph, you can see these are the points. These points, when x is -3, y is -7. That means it is less than 0. When x is 5, y again is -7. So those are the two instances. So the range of values simply means it is -3, and we have 5. So when x is equals to -3 and x is equals to 5, that is the range that gives the value of x being the values of y being less than 0. And I have demonstrated using the table of values, and also from the graph you can see the ones that I have circled there. When x is -3, the value of y is less than 0, and also when you look at when x is 5, again is the same. We go to the next one. Solve the equation. You're supposed to solve this equation, part 2. Now what you're supposed to do in solving that equation, you are supposed to take the first function, the function that we're given, the function of the curve, which is y is equals to -x squared, plus 2x plus 8, so plus 2x plus 8, and then subtract these equations. So you have this is 2x squared minus 3x minus 5. This one is equals to 0. If you solve these two equations simultaneously, you will remain with an equation of a straight line of which you're going to draw, and then from there we shall proceed. So I want to eliminate x squared. So to eliminate x squared, I will multiply this one by the first equation by 2. So that I have, when I multiply that one by 2, I will have 2y is equals to -2x squared, plus each term should be multiplied by 2, 4x plus 16. Then now you can subtract 0 is equals to, this is 2x squared minus 3x minus 5. So when you subtract these, you get 2y, subtract 0, you get 2y is equals to, to eliminate x squared, you're going to add. When you add, look at this, -2x squared plus 2x squared, that is when you eliminate it. So you simply add the 2, not subtracting. 2y plus 0 don't make any difference. So -2x squared plus 2x squared, you get 0. Then 4x plus -3x, that one will give x, like that. And then 16 plus -5, that one you get positive 11. Now after doing that, you can see you have the equation. You have the equation of a straight line. So you need to draw these. You need to draw this line. Draw the line. And for you to draw that line, you will need at least 2 points. So xy. So I will simply choose the best points to use when x is -1. When x is -1 and x is -1, for instance, substitute here 2y is equals to x plus 11. When x is -1, y will be 5. And then you can still choose another one when x is, let's say 5. When x is 5, what will be y? This will be 16 to be 8. So you're substituting those values of x in this equation. 2y is equals to x plus 11. So now you can plot this. These are enough to give you a straight line. So -1, 5. So -1, 5 is there already where the curve is passing. -1, 5 is there somewhere there. And then 5, 8. 5, 8. 5, 8 is there. 5, 8 is there. So now if you draw a straight line, so let me get a ruler. If you draw a straight line, passing through this point, like that. So if I draw a straight line, see that line? Where does it touch? The line is not perfectly drawn. So let me draw it again. It's supposed to pass through there. And that one is okay now. So there is the line. So this is the line that we've drawn. 2y is equals to x plus 11. So now look at the point where that line touches the curve. So the first point is this point that is here. So if you drop directly down, you notice so from this point where the line touches the curve, if you read the x coordinate, of that point will be x is equals to -1. So here it is. And the other point, which is here, here, you can see this point that is here. So when you drop down, you'll notice that one will be 2.5. So x is equals to 2.5. So check where the line cuts the curve, these 2 points, then read the x coordinate of the point of intersection. So these are the points. X is equals to -1 and x is equals to 2.5. So now when it comes to the solution, you're supposed to give those two solutions. So x is equals to -1 and x is equals to 2.5. And that is how you're supposed to solve that question. Question 22. The coordinates of point D and F are 2, -3 and -4, 5 respectively. Q is the midpoint of D and F. Find A, the coordinates of Q. Now the coordinates of Q will be obtained easily because Q is the midpoint of D and F. So you know how to get the midpoint given 2 points. So D is here. So we let this one to be x1 and then -3 to be y1. So this one will be y1 like that. And then this one is x2 and this one is y2. The reason why I'm doing this because the formula for getting the midpoints. For example, you were to get the midpoint of Q to be given by x1 plus x2 divided by 2, then y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So that is how we get the midpoint. Whereas x1 is given there, and y1, x2, and y2. So Q will therefore be given by x1 is 2, and then x2, that is plus -4, like that, divided by 2. y1 is -3, then y2 is 5, we divide by 2. So this will give -2 here, and here you'll have not -2. This one will give, when you divide, you get -2 divided by 2. 2 subtract 4, that is -2 divided by 2, that will give -1. And then this one will give 2 divided by 2, you get 1. And those are the coordinates of point Q, the midpoint. So that is how you get the midpoint. Then part B, find QF, the magnitude or the distance or the modulus of QF. So to get that, we need first to get QF. So how do you get QF? We get F, we write F in vector form. The coordinates for F is -4, 5. So we can write that one as -4, 5 in column form like that. And then we subtract Q. Q, we already obtained Q as -1, 1. -1, 1, like that. So these are, we have obtained this one from the coordinates of F, and then this one from the coordinates of Q. So when we subtract these, that is how we get vector QF. So this will give -4 plus 1, and then we have 5 minus 1, like that. And this will give -3. This will give -3, 4. As simple as that. -3, 4. So after getting that, now we need to get the magnitude. So this is how we get the magnitude. So to get the magnitude, we take the x coordinate, which is -3, we square that, then we add the y coordinate, you square that as well, and then you get the square root of everything there. When you get the square root of that, this will give 9 plus 16, and this one will give the square root of 25, which gives 5 units. As simple as that. Then we go to the next one. The next, given that D undergoes a translation given by T and its image D prime is -2, 8, find the image of F under the same translation. This question is about translation. One important thing you're supposed to know is that for a translation, you get the object, you add the translation vector, get the image. That is how translation works. So get the object, add the translation vector, and then you get the image. So in this case, D undergoes a translation. We don't know that translation, so we can let that translation to be given by vector A and B, because we don't know that translation. So we have D. D is given as, up there, we have the coordinates. So if we take D plus the translation vector, we get D prime. D is given by 2, -3. 2, -3. It is up there. So it's up here, you can see 2, -3. So 2, -3. And then plus the translation vector, which is AB. That one should give D prime. D prime is -2, 8. Like that. So by working it like this, we'll be able to get translation T, which is here, translation T. So to get translation AB, we shall subtract this vector 2, -3 from both sides. And this is what you're going to get when we subtract that vector from both sides. We shall get this one as a -2 minus 2, and then 8, subtract -3, like that. So that is AB. And this will give AB be given by, AB will be given by -4, and then 11. Negative 4, 11. So that is the translation. So the translation now is negative 4, 11. That is a translation that maps D to D prime. Now find the image of F under the same translation. So to find the image, you take object F plus the translation, we get the image. So F, we have F. F is negative 4, 5. It is given there. Negative 4, 5. Then we add the translation, which is negative 4, 11. And this one should give F prime, negative 4, subtract 4. That will give negative 8. Then 5 plus 11, that gives 16. So therefore, the coordinates of F will be negative 8, 16. Simple as that. Then the last one, D, show that A, B, and C are collinear. So what do we mean by showing the points are collinear? You're simply required to show that these points lie on the same straight line. So we have A there, we have B, we have C. Showing they are collinear, you need to show that they lie on the same straight line. And to do this, you first show that any two vectors that you form using A, B, and C are parallel. I'll choose the vectors to form to be AB is equivalent to, you need to show that these vectors are scalar multiples of each other, and by doing so, you have shown that they are parallel. So I form vector AB is equals to a scalar, then AC. You can see I've formed two vectors using points A, B, and C. So now when I am able to show that these vectors are formed as scalar multiples of each other, I'll have shown that AB is parallel to AC. That is the main objective. So I get vector AB, and we get vector AB by getting B. So you get B, which is 3, 5, and then subtract A, which is 1, negative 1, like that. So that will give not 1, negative 1. This one is B. I think we got B to be, let me go up there to confirm. Oh, B is here, actually is here. B is 3, 5, and then A is 1, negative 1. I've seen it. It's here. It's just here. So 1, negative 1. So that is how you get vector AB, by simply taking the coordinates of B, writing them in column form, and then you subtract A. So this one will give 2, and then this one will give 6. Then we get AC, vector AC. You'll take coordinates of C, 5, 11, and then you subtract the coordinates of A, again, and negative 1. And these will give 4. These will give 4, 12. Like that. Once you do that, now you need to show, now that you have AB is equals to K, AC, AB is 2, 6, then is equals to K, AC is 4, 12. So this will be 2, 6 is equals to 4 times K, this is 4K, then 4K times 12, this is 12K. So if I'm able to show that these are K, the scalar K is constant, is the same for both. If I take 2 is equals to 4K, so here K will be half. If I take the bottom one, 6 is equals to 12K, you notice that K will still be a half. So therefore, these vectors are multiples of each other, and therefore they are parallel. So you can conclude now and say AB is equivalent to a half from this one, a half AC. And by showing this, that these two vectors are scalar multiples of each other, there exists a scalar between the two, then AB is parallel to AC. And if AB is parallel to AC, then it means that these points lie on the same straight line. Then the other thing you need to show to prove that these points are collinear is that when you look at vector AB and AC, A is a common point. A is common point between the two vectors AB and AC. So that is how you're supposed to solve that question. Question 23. Below is a frequency distribution table for the marks scored by 100 students in a maths test. So the marks are there. The number of students are given. Part A, calculate the mean mark. Correct one decimal place the mean mark. Supposed to get the mean mark. So for the mean mark, we shall construct a table here that will assist me to work out easily. So you have the marks and then you have the frequency. You create the tables very fast. So you have marks from the 0 to 20, then 20 to 50. The other class is 50 to 70, then 70 to 90, then 90 to 100. You need to be very observant of the classes. You can see the classes are overlapping. So 0 to 20, so the upper class limit of the first class is a lower class limit of the other class. So you can see the classes are overlapping. You need to be very keen with that. So this is 3, 12, 40, 25, and this one is 20. So for us to get the mean, remember how we calculate the mean? So the mean is obtained by the summation of fx divided by the summation of f. So we need the column for fx. What is x? X is the midpoint of these marks. So for the first one, 0 plus 20 divided by 2, that is how you get them. Midpoint, that is 10. 20 plus 50 divided by 2, that will give 35. So that is how you do for all the others. So the next one will be 60. 70 plus 50, that is 120 divided by 2, get 60. The other one is 160 divided, this will be 80. And then the next one will be 95. So that is how you get the midpoints, by simply getting the average. So 0 plus 20 divided by 2, 10. 20 plus 50 divided by 2, you get 35. Then now we get the product fx. Fx, so this will be 3 times 10. So this will be 30. So the next one will be 420. The next will be 2400. And then we have 2000. And then we have the next one is 1900. So after doing that, now you need to get the summation. The summation of fx, you add everything, 30 plus 420 plus 2400 plus 2000 plus 1900. That will give, using a calculator, this will give 6750. Then the summation of f, summation of frequency. This one already we are given is 100 students. So when you add that, you get 100 students. Now you can get the mean. So the mean is the summation of fx, which is 6750 divided by 100, summation of f. So this will give 67.5 as the mean. So that is the solution for the first part. Part 2, draw a histogram to represent the above information. So draw a histogram to represent the above information. So when you look at these classes, number one, you notice that they are overlapping, and then they are not uniform. They are not of uniform class width. So we need to get a frequency density on the y-axis. That is what you're going to plot on the y-axis. Then the class limits will come on the x-axis. So how do we get the frequency density? Frequency density is obtained by getting the frequency divided by the class width. So I will create another one here for class width. What is the class width? So what is the class width? And then from there, we can get the frequency density. So class width, or the first one, because these classes are overlapping, so class width here, you simply get 20 subtract 0. 20 subtract 0, and that one will give 20. The other one, 20 to 50, that is 50 subtract 20. And we do this. We are not going to use the boundaries in this case. We are not going to use the boundaries the normal way we do, because of the way the classes are. You can see the classes are overlapping. So to get the class size, you just get direct difference. So 50 subtract 20, you get 30. Then 70 subtract 50, that will give 20. 90 subtract that is also 20. And then this one is 100 subtract 90, that will give 10. After getting that, now we can get the frequency density, FD. Simply take the frequency divided by the class width. Frequency, like for the first one, frequency is 3, divided by class width, which is 20. That gives 0.15. The next one, 12 divided by 30, 0.6. The next is 40 divided by 20, that gives 2. 25 divided by 20, that will give 1.25. And then 20 divided by 10, that's 2. So that is what should come on the y-axis. So now we can comfortably plot these values. Let me draw the axis. So there's the axis. So that is the y-axis, and this one is the x-axis. So for the y-axis, I will use 2 centimeters to represent 0.5. So this one should be 0.5. This is 1, then 1.5, then 2, and then 2.5. I don't see whether we have any value that will not fit here. Everything is okay. And then for the x-axis, can simply use a 10. Can use 10. So this one to be 10. So 0 would be here. This is 10. This is 20. This is 30. This is 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So for the first class is from 0 to 20. 0 to 20. Frequency density there is 0.15. 0 to 20. So 0 to 20, frequency density is 0.15. 0.15. You need to know the size of one small square. Like in my case here, one small square will be 0.5 divided by 10 to be 0.05. One small square. So 0.15 be 0.05, 0.1, 0.15. So 1, 2, 3 should be somewhere here. Be somewhere there. So somewhere there. And then shade the bars like that. Bars are supposed to be joined together, no spacing. The second class 20 to 50, 0.6. 20 to 50, 0.6. 20 to 50, 0.6. So 0.55, 0.6. So it will be there. Sorry. It's 20 to 50. That. And then forget to shade these. So the next class is the next class is 50 to 72. 50 to 70 to 50 to 70. 50 to 70. That one is 2. Like that. And then shade that. Like that. The next is 70 to 90, 1.25. 70 to 90, 1.25. So 70 to 90, 1.25. So 1.25 is there. 70 to 90. That. Then you shade the bars. Like that. And then the last one is 90 to 100, 2. 90 to 100, 90 to 100. That one goes to 2. Frequency density is 2. Supposed to be like that. So that is how you're supposed to draw the histogram. So you have the frequency density, the y-axis, and then you have the max. So we've done that. So part C, the last one, estimate the median mark using the histogram. Estimate the median mark using the histogram. So how do you estimate the median mark? The median mark is the middle mark. That is when you divide the total frequency by 2. That is how you get the position. So to get the position of the median, we shall take the total frequency, we divide by 2. Total frequency is 100, so we divide by 2. The position of the median mark will be from the 50th student. So we need to go to the table here. I will introduce another column here that will assist me to get the median class, cumulative frequency. So the first frequency is 3. The next one you just add, you just need to add. The other one will be 15. 3 plus 12, 15. 15 plus 40, that will give 55. 55 plus 25, that will give 80. And then 80 plus 20, 100. So that is cumulative frequency. So where do we have the 50th student? Which class? In this particular class that is here, 50 to 70. So this is where the median class is. The 50th student will be here. So that is why we have the median class. So the median class is 50 to 70. That is why we should get the mark 50 to 70. The median class. Median class is 50 to 70. Now having identified that, so from your graph, the median mark will be between here and here. So we don't know the width that is going to give us from 50, the width that is going to give us to take us to the median. That is what we need to get. So from 50, the median, the class width that is going to take us to the median from 50. So what we do, looking at this table here, we have the number of students that are before that class. They are 3 plus 12. That is 15. So 3 plus 12, that is 15. And then in this class, where we have the median, we don't know the number of students that will be there in order to give us 50. So we have 3 plus 12, then plus a certain number of students here in this class of 50 to 70 that are going to give us 50 as the position of the median. So we'll come back to this formula here. Frequency density is given by frequency of the class width. So what about frequency? Frequency will be given by frequency density multiplied by the class width. This is what is going to help us. So 3 plus 12 plus a certain number of students, which you don't know, that is frequency. And to get those students that will be in this class that will take us to 50, we will use the frequency density of that class. The frequency density of that class is 2. Then multiply by the class width. The class width that will take us to the median from 50. From 50 to the median, we let that class width to be x. And that should give us 50 as the position of the median. So we're going to use this formula. Of course, there is another formula where you use the area. You get half of the area of the bars. But also this one is also a good method if you understand it. So we have 3 students in the first class plus 12 students in the second class plus a certain number of students, because this is where we have the median, that is where we have the 50th student, plus a certain number of students there should give us 50. And because we don't know the number of students here that will take us to 50, we use the frequency density, because for us to get the frequency or the number of students in each of these class, you use this formula. Frequency is equals to frequency density times the class width. And you can try with the first one, for example. You see now, like frequency is 3 there. So frequency density of that class is 0.15. And then you multiply by the class width. The class width is 20 subtract 0. It is 20. You see, frequency density times the class width. This one will give 3. So you can see how you get the frequency. So the same thing, because you don't know the class width of this class, 50 to 70 that will take us to median, we write to be x, then the frequency density is 2. So now when you get the value of x here, this is 15x plus 2, not 15x, but this will be 15 plus 2x is equals to 50. So x here will give 17.5. So that is what will take us. That is the class width that will take us. So from 50, we shall add a class width of 17.5, and that will take us directly to the median. So this will give 67.5 as the median. So from 50 plus 17.5, because that is what you get as x. So we get the median as 67.5. So if you are to use now the graph here, so from 50, using the histogram, from 50, you simply need to add 17.5. So 17.5, you know the scale. The scale here will be, one small square will represent 2. So you have 60, then you have 62, then 64, then 66, 67. So if you are to draw a vertical line to show where the median is, you simply come here. So from 50, you add 17. So you have 67. So 67. So this is 62, 64, 66. So 67 will be somewhere. Let me use a different pen here. So it will be somewhere here. 67. So if you are to draw, a vertical line showing where the median is, this should be the vertical line that is here. So 67.5. And that is how you're supposed to solve that question. Question 24. The displacement S meters from a fixed point of a particle in a motion at any given time, t seconds, is given by S is equals to 2/3 t cubed minus 11 over 2t squared plus 12t plus 5 meters. You're supposed to find A, the displacement when the particle is momentarily at rest. So when the particle is momentarily at rest, what you should understand is that velocity at that instance is equivalent to 0. So velocity is equals to 0 when the particle is at rest. So we need to get now velocity from displacement. So to get velocity, we differentiate. So velocity is equals to, we differentiate distance or displacement with respect to t. So when you differentiate this one, 2/3 t cubed, that one will give 2t squared. Then we differentiate 11 over 2t cubed, t squared, we get, this one will be 11t. And then when we differentiate 12t, with respect to t, we get 12. So therefore, velocity is equivalent to 2t squared minus 11t plus 12. Now, we've said at rest, velocity will be equivalent to 0. So that is very important. So equate that on to 0 plus 12. And now we can solve this quadratic equation and we get the instances when the particle is at rest. So solve this quadratic equation using factorization. So looking for two numbers whose product will be 24 and sum will be 11, negative 11. And these numbers are negative 3 and negative 8. So therefore you have 2t squared minus 8t minus 3t, that is minus 11, using negative 3 and negative 8, and then plus 12 is equals to 0. So this will give, when you factorize these, you get 2t is common. So t minus 4, then subtract 3, t subtract 4 is equals to 0, like that. Then from there, let's continue from there. So from there we shall have, just a minute. So from there now we can factorize these further. We get 2t minus 3, then t subtract 4 is equals to 0. So here you get two values of t. So the first one is 2t minus 3 is equals to 0. For this one you get the value of t to be 3 over 2 or 1.5 seconds. And the other one, when t minus 4 is equals to 0, you get the value of t to be 4 seconds. Now, we've not answered the question. You're supposed now to find the displacement when the particle is momentarily at rest. Now, these are the times. T is equals to 1.5 seconds and t is equals to 4 seconds. The time when the particle is at rest, is momentarily at rest. So now we need to get the displacement now using these values of t. So we simply get the first one. Of course, it is when t is equals to 1.5 seconds. So now we get the displacement at these instances. So 2/3, then t cubed, that is 1.5 cubed, minus 11 over 2, 1.5 is a t squared, then plus 12, 1.5 plus 5. So when you work out that, you get displacement when t is equals to 1.5, and these will give 12.875. 12.875 meters. So the other is when t is equals to 4. So displacement is equals to that. Now you substitute t is with 4. So this is 4 cubed minus 11 over 2, 4 squared plus 12, 4 plus 5. So this one, when t is equals to 4, this will give 24. The 24, you're going to get 7 and 2/3, 7 and 2/3 meters, or 7.67 meters. So that is how you're supposed to work out that part of the question. Now the other question is B, acceleration when the particle is at rest. Acceleration. So how do you get acceleration? We get acceleration by differentiating velocity. So we have velocity is 2t squared minus 11t plus 12. We got that. It is the up there. So that is velocity. Got it. It is here. Plus 12. Now to get acceleration, we differentiate velocity with respect to t. So acceleration is you differentiate velocity with respect to t. This will give, when you differentiate 2t squared, you get 4t minus, this is 11. So acceleration is 4t subtract 11. So now we are supposed to find acceleration when the particle is at rest. And we identified that the particle is at rest when t is equals to 1.5 seconds and t is equals to 4 seconds. So we need now to get acceleration as these two instances. So when t is equals to 1.5, you get a is equals to 4. You just substitute 40. These are 4 multiplied by 1.5, subtract 11. So when t is equals to 1.5, acceleration will be 6 subtract 11. So this will give -5 meters per second squared. And then the next one is when t is equals to 4. So acceleration will be 4, substitute t with 4, and this will give 16 minus 11, and this will give 5 meters per second squared. So those are the two solutions. Then the last question, part C, the minimum velocity of the particle. The minimum velocity. Now what you need to understand is that at minimum or maximum velocity, minimum or maximum velocity, acceleration is equals to 0. So to get minimum velocity, the time when the particle attains minimum velocity, we shall take acceleration and equate it to 0. So we already have acceleration as 40 subtract 11. So we simply need to take 40 subtract 11, that is acceleration, and equate it to 0. Because at minimum or maximum velocity, acceleration will be 0. Then this one will give us the time at which t attains minimum velocity. And this will be t will be given by, so t will be given by 11/4. 11/4. And this one is 2.75 seconds. 2.75 seconds. That is the time it attains minimum velocity. We are supposed to find now the minimum velocity. After getting the time when it attains minimum velocity, now we go to the expression for velocity, which is there, 2t squared minus 11t plus 12. So when t is equals to 2.75, we get 2, substitute t with 2.75 minus 11, 2.75 plus 12. So this one, when you work it out, you'll get velocity, a minimum velocity to be -3.125 meters per second. And that is how you're supposed to solve that.